Hey, limitless beings. Today we are taking a bit of a different step. We are having an uncomfortable conversation about having uncomfortable conversations. And look, to be honest with you, no, not really. You know, this is the subject of today. I'm really happy and excited to bring you this. I am Sky Hanley, alignment coach and business mentor. And so obviously having tough conversations is very much a part of my job, but I don't necessarily find them tough all the time. And let's unpack that. And it's not about me, but it's about unpacking what might be going on for you, you know, in relation to having some tough conversations that need to be had, you know, in your business and possibly in your life. Now, if you are new to my YouTube channel, please hit the like or subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with all of the amazing content that we're putting out. Like this particular subject, this is one that I've wanted to bring you for a while, definitely, because I know that it comes up for my business mentor clients, you know, more often than not. And there's a few different ways that I look at this that I want to bring to you, all right? So, when having tough conversations, look, you don't have to be mean to have a tough conversation. It's not actually about that, you know, and it's really important that if you want to work with integrity in your business, that, you know, that you do actually step up and have conversations with clients that may feel a bit icky at first as you get used to it. But it is super important that you kind of go through the motions of actually doing that, because I promise you magic happens on the other side. Now, what can sometimes happen, you know, and I know this to be true for some of my clients, is that we actually become, you know, more focused on ourselves, and that's why the conversation seems tough. All right. So, you guys know I've worked in, you know, health, fitness, nutrition, that kind of industry, right? For a long time. And you might not be from that industry. I'm just going to use this as the example for a second for this particular point, but I've got about 5 different points for you. So yeah, you know, definitely feel into what's going to resonate for you. Now, in health, fitness, and nutrition, you know, what can sometimes happen is that, like, if we are more about ourselves than we are the other person, we sort of might be like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to have this conversation. It's a little bit tough, or I know they're not going to get the results that they're after, but you know, I don't want to dishearten them or make them feel bad, or, you know, or they might get upset. Maybe they won't like me. You know, we kind of start, you know, running the gamut of all of these sort of head noise stories. Now, the problem with these head noise stories is, one, they might not be true, and two, you could be looking at it from completely the wrong direction. And what I mean by that is that those head noise stories are more about you than they are the other person, right? What if they don't like me? Like, you know, I don't want to make them feel bad. Like, you know, we're literally projecting our thoughts onto another human, right? It is like a mirrored situation, where what could actually be the truth of the scenario, not the head noise version, is that you are giving them the opportunity to step it up. You are giving them the option to choose a different path that is going to get them the results that they're after. Right? So if we're literally kneecapping ourselves or kneecapping them, right, to say, oh no, well, they're going to react badly because, you know, or I'm going to make them feel bad, or they're going to be disheartened, maybe they're going to be inspired. Maybe they're going to change their fucking life. Maybe they are going to step up because they get it. Maybe they've been missing the mark because they don't understand, and having a tough conversation with them is the exact thing that they need to go, yeah, you know what? I fucking do need to change. I've had to sit there and say to people, I think that you're killing yourself. Doing what you're doing now with the disease spectrum that you have, you're potentially killing yourself, right? Because, you know, and I would not say that lightly, but, you know, I tried with this particular person, and there were, you know, nothing was quite sinking in. And so I had to say, do you not get it? Do you not know how dangerous, potentially dangerous this is, what you are doing? That's a tough conversation, right? Or it could come across that way. And if I was me-centric and thinking about me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, what might she think if I say that? Maybe she'll never come back again. Look, and maybe she will never come back again. However, if I don't put that there, what kind of a professional am I for not showing up, for not pushing through my own discomfort, if that, exists, if that's there, if that's alive for me, pushing through my own discomfort to be other person centric, to be here for her, to be what she needed in that moment, potentially to hear, so that she could make the choice to change her life if that's the path she wanted to go down. See how that works? Now look, I'm just checking all the different things that I have to say. Look, I'm kind of covering them, more about other people rather than ourselves, giving them a chance to choose a different path. But if we don't tell them that what they're doing is not going to equal the results, or, whatever it is, whether you are a coach, whether you are, a physio, whether you are health and fitness, it doesn't really matter, right? Any kind of service-based business, these types of things come up. And if you are being paid, and this is truly one of my other beliefs, if you are being paid for a service and then you are sitting in your own discomfort of not wanting to have a tough conversation because, you're a yes person and you want to be liked and all the rest of it, to me, that is also not integrity. And I know that that sounds really mean, but it's true. If somebody is paying you for a service, then they want you to show up fully and to be the professional. And sometimes as a professional, we need to have those tough conversations. That is part of our job. All right. It's not necessarily to be everybody's best friend all the time. It's not to say the easy thing or the nice thing, right? It is to be that place where your clients can come, they can bounce, they can lean into your personal, professional, opinions and decisions, and to give them the advice and let them hear what it is that maybe they need to hear, so they have the freedom of choice to then change their mind and do something differently. All right. Now, the last thing that I want to say that kind of ties into all of these points that I'm making, we could be being more about ourselves than being about the other person. And it's so much more in person. If you are, it's so much more important is the word I'm after. That, if you are a professional person, that you are showing up for your client, they are paying you for a service. And part of that service often means that you need to have a tough conversation with them. By having that tough conversation, you're actually giving them a chance to choose something differently. All right. And that is on them, all right? So whether they go, that's it, I'm never coming back here again. And again, we don't have to be rude or mean or belittling or shaming or embarrassing or anything like that. You can still turn up to these conversations from such a heart-centered place. That is real, all right? That is real, and make sure that we're using language that leaves options, all right? You could be potentially killing yourself by doing this, right? Or, I might speak to some of my business clients and say, I'm feeling like there could be some kind of fear-based decision-making coming up here for you. Not say you're making decisions only out of fear, because it's a bit that's, we want to leave room to be wrong, or for them to be able to work out what it means for them. Their freedom of choice is still, alive in that moment, all right? Now, the last thing that I want to touch on is subconscious identity. Now, we do have another, I think we have a video or otherwise, head over to my podcast. I'm pretty sure there is actually both, I think. I think there's a podcast on which subconscious identity is running the show. Now, if you're sitting there struggling with having, tough conversations or uncomfortable conversations because, the fear of being judged or wanting to be liked or being a bit of a yes person or, not really liking conflict, if those kinds of things are showing up for you, and they may be true, I don't mean to sound like I'm being mocking, I'm just exaggerating them, right? Then what that actually tells us is there is a subconscious identity running the show. All right. And so it's well worth that you head over to the podcast. It's called Goddess Business Unleashed. Regardless of whether you're a god or a goddess, go over there and listen in on the podcast, right? On which subconscious identity is running the show. Because again, fear of conflict, it's not relevant, right? Because if you are coming from a heart-centered place to tell somebody a message that they need to know so that they can get the results that they are after, or so that they can utilize your service, to the maximum or whatever, it's just professionalism. It's just integrity. It's not conflict. It doesn't have to be. Look, and if they choose conflict, that is their choice, right? But if you stay heart-centered and other person focused, that's all you can do, knowing that you are coming out of greater good, not out of, some kind of combativeness. And look, sometimes we need to have those conversations too with clients who are not paying. You know, you are allowed to, have to call them up and say, hey, listen, I'm so excited. I'm enjoying working with you, but we simply cannot continue until you catch your payments up to date. And they go, oh, okay, sorry, and I forgot, and this and that, or whatever, or maybe they ghost you a little bit, who knows, but you are well within your right to have that conversation, to put that information out there. And when you do that, you are so much more in alignment with your, with your soul, with your higher self, with the universe around you, all right, by speaking your truth. Because if you are having resistance coming up because somebody is not paying you for the service that you're providing, then it is important for you and your own well-being and your own alignment that you speak your truth. And again, maybe you don't have to be an asshole about it either, unless it's kind of getting to that point, and then pull out the stronger tones perhaps. But yeah, these uncomfortable conversations, I think that what happens is we really let our minds, kind of conjure up all these different sort of beliefs and stories and angles and not correctisms. They're just not right, You can still have a heart-centered conversation with people. You still are showing up out of service. You are actually serving them from a far greater place because you are serving them based on them, not allowing your own fears or your own subconscious identities or stories to run the show. And that is working with integrity, absolutely. And really, giving your clients the chance to do different, to do better, to choose something else, to go down a different path, to up their game, whatever it is that they need to do. It starts with you having these conversations and giving them the opportunity to be able to do whatever it is that they need to do. All right, you guys. Listen, if you want to stay up to date with the conversations, we have so much action happening over in our Facebook community group, Soul Empire Unleashed. That's where you get all the information about videos that we post up, as well as, podcasts and lots of little bonus content and things like that. Love you guys. Hope you've enjoyed this one. And time to start having some tough conversations, I think. All right.